Today, fear is 24/7, 365. The system was never designed for prolonged fear and stress as we are experiencing in today's world. Well, I have a feeling that the fear is much more powerful in influencing us than the things like the cell phones and the energy fields and all that. You know, let's go back, because a big fear is, electromagnetic fields. That's been a big fear, and there should be a concern, because biological systems employ electromagnetic fields and vibrations and energy in controlling and manipulating the biology. So if the energy fields around us are altered, they surely can have an effect. And I say, well, is everybody affected by this? And I say, look, when we were afraid because high power, high tension lines, the ones that carry the big load of electricity, and people live underneath those lines, they assessed, is there any difference in the health of people who live under the high power tension lines? And they find out, yeah, for sure, people are affected. You got, more health issues of people living there. And then I go, is everybody affected? And this is where it comes down to the important part. No, not everybody was affected. Those that were affected were already under stress. So stress exacerbated the problem. Those people who weren't under stress, living under these lines, have no problem. So stress is opening up our system from attack, from anything from electromagnetic fields to viruses, and we have to understand that stress is the bigger problem in the immune system. And so, just to give an example, they followed the fate of children who are adopted into families where there's cancer. I say, so what? I say, it turns out the adopted child will get the same family cancer as the siblings get, with the same probability. I go, yeah, but what's different? I go, the adopted child came from totally different genetics, and the cancer is running in the family. And what's the point? Cancer is not due to genes. Cancer is due to not living in harmony. And all of a sudden it says, well, then how do you fight cancer? And they say, well, we kill all the cancer cells. I go, the cancer cells are a symptom. The problem is not living in harmony. You can kill all the damn cancer cells you want, but if you don't change the problem, the cause, a cancer will come back again. And so there's a misunderstanding about genes and victimization. We're all perceived as victims of our heredity when we are absolute masters. We control our genetics, and that's the most important fact that people have to understand. What is so important? If we do not focus on the problems that they keep throwing at us, and you start to look at your life and say, am I okay? Yeah, I'm pretty good. How's my family? We're good. We're healthy. Even if there's a flu, as I said, half the people tested with the flu don't even have symptoms. So it's not as lethal as they say. It's the fear of death is the problem that we must deal with today. And the idea is, am I open to die? And I say, everybody's open to die. But will you die from this flu? I go, not necessarily, unless you're part of that same group. So let me just emphasize, the group that should be concerned are the aged people, very old, people on support, like nursing support, like especially in nursing homes, people whose immune system is already compromised. If you are in that situation, then by all means, do everything to protect yourself. Isolate from those people that may be carrying it. And remember, a lot of carriers have no symptoms, so you wouldn't even know they were carrying it. And follow the guidelines of eating well, vitamin supplements, and thinking in a different way, more specifically for that group than for the rest, because that's the group that is primarily affected by this. Then I say, yeah, but there's a lot of respiratory distress. And I go, again, all of that is manageable if you can get hospital care. If you can get a ventilator, if you can get some antiviral drugs and the medical system, people won't die from this if they get care. So basically, it's not, oh my God, I got the flu, I'm gonna die. We got to change that visual picture, because that is the biggest problem affecting us today, is the fear. The fear that has been generated by this is the biggest problem of all, because people have to understand about the immune system. The immune system is designed for internal protection. Anything that gets in my body, parasites, viruses, bacteria, the immune system's function is to fight that. And I say, does it use energy to have the immune system? I go, of course. If you've ever been really sick, you probably didn't have enough energy to get out of bed sometimes. I say, the immune system uses lots of energy. I go, so what? Well, then here comes the problem. There are two protection systems. The immune system protects me on the inside. The adrenal system, which is called fight or flight, protects me from threats on the outside. I go, so why is it relevant? Well, let's give a scenario here. You have a bacterial infection, you might have a bad case of diarrhea coming, and you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. Question, if I had to divide the energy in my body to protect me from the flu or bacteria and from the tiger, how would you split the energy distribution between those two? And Brian, this is really relevant. I mean, ask you, if you're being chased by a tiger, you got a flu, what proportion of the energy of your body do you want to use to run away from the tiger, and what proportion do you want to use to fight the bacteria? It's a pretty clear answer. I hope you see it.
Probably 99-1 is probably what I would do.
Exactly. Okay. So right away, that's the fundamental principle. Fundamental principle is this. I distribute energy in the body where I need the energy. And when it comes to threats and survival, if it's a threat from the outside world, I need to put all the energy into that. So I say, fine. I say, how does this work? I say, when we perceive a threat, when we believe and perceive that we're being chased by that saber-toothed tiger, the body releases stress hormones. I go, yeah, so what? That gets me ready. I say, gets you ready for fight or flight. I said, what does it do to get you ready? And this is the crux of the problem. The stress hormones do is take the energy of the body, stop funding with energy those functions that are not necessary to run away from the tiger. Because what you want to do is you want to get all the energy possible into the arms and legs, which is the blood. The blood carries the energy. I want all the blood in my arms and legs. Why? Because I need to run away from that tiger. So I say, so what happens when stress hormones are released in the body? And the first thing is this: all functions not related to running away from that tiger are shut down to conserve the energy. So I say, well, what does that mean? I say, when stress hormones are released into the body, they cause the blood vessels in the gut to squeeze shut. I go, why? And the answer is, if the blood vessels squeeze shut, then the blood is pushed to the periphery, the arms and legs. So the blood is, in scientific terms, preferentially sent to the arms and legs at the expense of what? Shutting the blood vessels in the gut. And that's when people get butterflies in the stomach. When they start to get scared, they can feel a little queasy going on. And I say, what is that? I say, that's the action of stress hormones causing your blood vessels in the gut to squeeze shut, so you push the blood to the arms and legs to deal with fight or flight. Okay, so the first thing is this: when you're in fear, you shut down the growth and maintenance of the body. It's very simple. Why should I fund those things if the tiger's chasing me? If the tiger catches me, then maintenance of the body is not my problem anymore. So the first step in a stress response is stress hormones shut down the visceral functions of maintaining the body, filtering, cleaning, repairing, replacing things. And I go, okay, that shuts down my growth as I get ready for protection. I go, yeah. And here's the other fact, and this is the one that's relevant. The immune system, as I said, uses so much energy that when it's engaged, we may be so depleted of energy, we don't have any energy to get out of bed. I say, well, again, if I'm being chased by the tiger and I have the bacterial infections, the hell with the bacterial infections. It's time to run away from that tiger. Fact of life, this is it. Stress hormones shut down the immune system to conserve energy so I can run away from the threat. And I go, it's so powerful at shutting down the immune system that stress hormones are used, listen, therapeutically. I go, what do you mean? If I am going to transplant an organ from one person to another, the recipient of that transplant, their immune system, by definition, is going to try and reject the transplant because it's foreign tissue. I say, so what do doctors do before they transplant an organ? I say, they give the patient stress hormones, because when they get the stress hormones, it inhibits the immune function from rejecting the graft. So what's the point? My God, stress hormones are so effective at shutting down the immune system that they use it therapeutically to stop the function of that immune system. So I go, so why is it relevant? I go, because we're put into fear. And everybody who listens is now afraid. The difference between, let's say, last year's flu season, I'm coming on the news and I go, the flu season's back this year, and as usual, you have to take care of yourself, and about 0.1% of the population will have severe problems with this, and but that's annual. That's the way it is. Or I come on this year, and I say, my God, the flu is here. We're all going to die. Millions of people are going to die. And all of a sudden, it's like, that's a different news report than last year. That scares the hell out of me. Most humans do not have an immunological memory to help alleviate the symptoms of the flu. So this year, the flu is a little more aggressive than previous years, only because most of us have not had an experience with this virus in the past. That's the nature of the game. So then I say, well, how dangerous is this flu? Well, this is the part that is really freaky, because the first thing is this: we equate the flu this season, the Corona 2019 virus, we equate it with mortality. It's like, what do you mean? I said, everyone's talking about, oh my God, we can die. And I go, well, you can die every year. That's not any different. I say, so what's different? I said, it's a little more aggressive. I say, so why is it relevant? I said, okay, the symptoms are a little more aggressive. I said, well, you die from the symptoms. I say, if you have standard medical treatment, even the aggressive form that causes respiratory distress is manageable. As long as we have ventilators, as long as we have antivirals, as long as the hospital isn't under a crush, this isn't lethal. I said, yeah, but people are dying. I go, every year, the same cohort or group of people are affected and die from the flu. And I said, what cohort is that? And I said, people who, first of all, are very old, who are in nursing care, whose immune systems are already weakened just because of their age. And secondly, those people who are already compromised. They have a problem already, whether it's a cardiovascular or cancer or diabetes, they already are compromised. These are the people who are the likely ones to succumb from this particular flu. They've always been this way. Every year, 0.1% to about 0.5% is a range. And I say, well, what about this year? And they go, oh my God, 3 to 4%, which is like 30 or 40 times more lethal. I go, wait a minute, where'd you get that statistic? The way you get the statistic is you take the number of people who died and divide it by the number of people who have the virus. I go, okay. So I said, well, what's wrong here? And I'll tell you what's wrong is when they've tested like a whole city, like in Italy, in Italy, for example, they tested the population and they found that more than half of the people that have this so-called COVID-19 virus, more than half of them have no symptoms at all. I say, so why is that relevant? I say, if you take all the people who have the virus, whether they have no symptoms or whether they have symptoms, that's a very large number compared to the number of people who went to the doctor and got reported to have a virus. So I say, why is it relevant? I say, if you take the very large number of people who have been exposed and who have that virus, and then divide that into the number of deaths, guess what? It's not 3 to 4% at all. It's below 1%. I go, well, now you're in the range of a normal flu.